and I always have my intelligible analysts right here in the studio. Their job is to help give us a breakdown of these issues, help us comprehend better, and of course recommendations. And remember, it's not just us having the conversation right here in the studio. You're also part of the conversation. You call in, you send your messages, we hear from you, we hear your thoughts, and of course possibly most of these political individuals who actually occupy public offices will be listening. They would hear your voice and possibly implement most of the recommendations that you actually give right here in the studio. I also want you to understand that when you hear some criticisms on this current administration or any political individual, it is not to defame, it is not to slander, it is not to bring them down or make castigations or derogatory statements against them. No, the thing is, these are the issues and they're usually in the center of it, and so we talk about them. But at the end of the day, we try to talk about the plausible solutions to these issues, and of course, make sure that those who need to do something does something about it. Once again, my name is Esther Wachku. I officially welcome you to the Political Spotlight. We're actually streaming live on YouTube. It's at VOP 903 FM. That is Voice of the People 90.3 FM. This is basically where your voice is heard, and this radio station is all about you. So I would implore you to join us virtually and be part of the conversation. All right, you can actually send us your WhatsApp message on 081-717-56338, 081-717-56338. That's the WhatsApp number. So if you officially want to join us, you also want to actually begin to give us your thoughts on what we're discussing right here in the studio, you can begin by sending in your WhatsApp messages. And the course of the program, definitely when it's time for us to open the phone lines to listen to what you had to say on the conversation, or when it is time for us to read out your messages, definitely we'll call out the numbers through which you can actually call. But at this moment, you can begin to send in your WhatsApp messages and tune in to join us virtually in the studio. I want to once again welcome you to the Political Spotlight. Okay, so here is the thing. Once again, congratulations. All right, the 137 students along with their principal who was abducted. Remember, there were 287, but some persons were able to escape the clutches of these bandits or Boko Haram terrorist members. Well, this morning, we woke up to the good news. Very early in the morning, they were announced as to the fact that they were rescued. The DHQ, the Nigerian military, the Nigerian security forces, all that converged to ensure that the abducted 287 Kaduna school children regained their freedom. I want to say congratulations to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration, to our military, for the strategic application in ensuring that these children were released. Trust me, it was beginning to seem like a former president, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan's administration all over again. But 14 days, and this government, whatever policy, whatever factor they implemented to ensure that those children were released, I want to say well done. We're happy. It's a good thing to be excited about. Trust me, it was quite worrisome, and I do not even know how the parents or guardians of these children must have felt all this while these children were in the clutches of this nefarious, dreadful individuals who have been plaguing the security of our nation. Well, the president has hailed the news of the release of the Kuriga school children in Kaduna State and emphasized the importance of collaboration between the federal government and states for expected outcomes, especially on security matters. You do know that the Kaduna State government disclosed 287 children were kidnapped from Kuriga, Chikun local government area, Kaduna State, and they have been released. The announcement was made by the state governor, Senator Uba Sani, and he actually wrote in a statement, "I wish to announce that our Kuriga school children have been released. Our special appreciation goes to our dear President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for prioritizing the safety and security of Nigerians, and particularly ensuring that the abducted Kuriga school children are released unharmed. While the school children were in captivity, I spoke with Mr. President several times. He shared our pains, comforted us, and worked around the clock with us to ensure the safe return of the children." A lot of political stalwarts were asking questions. What's going on with this administration, where there was even a breakdown of the last 10 months of President Tinubu's administration, the number of persons that have been kidnapped, about 6,000 and something persons kidnapped. or some have even died in the process of this mayhem. And the question was, what exactly is going on? Why are we experiencing things like this? Why has it become a consistent factor in this part of the world where we see individuals being kidnapped every day in a brazen manner, and it almost feels like it is the order of the day? Well, once again, congratulations. I'm so happy. We're relieved that the children have been released, and it's a good thing to actually note that in the course of trying to ensure the safety of those children, we didn't hear that there was any collateral damage in the process of ensuring the release of those children. So once again, congratulations to them. Thank President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for whatever approach he was able to implement in ensuring that those children were released. Now, in the course of the week, another controversial issue actually occurred. This time around, it's about Nnamdi Kanu. You do know that Nnamdi Kanu was appeared in court in this, I think, last week. Yes, just this last week. And while he appeared in court, he actually had to open his body up. He said that he's having heart congestion issues. He talked about lumps under his armpit. He had to disclose to the court that he needed to be transferred to Kuje prison. He no longer wants to stay in the DSS custody, and that the medical treatment being given to him, the DSS, is far below standard. He has his own right to seek proper medical health care. And he pleaded that it seems there is a collaboration between the federal government or the DSS to slowly kill him in their detention. Otherwise, why is it difficult for them to actually grant him bail or transfer him to Kuje prison, where he can have access to proper medical care? And, in that particular attempt, this was on Tuesday actually, and he said that there is a 7-count terrorism allegation which was presented against him and was expedited during the hearing, which has been headed by Justice Binta Inyako. Now, in an exclusive conversation, right, his lawyer, Aloy Ejumako, along with Owen Machuku and Francis Ugu, they're accusing President Bola Tinubu of being responsible for Kanu's ongoing detention. And he expressed his complete unhappiness with the court's ruling, where the next plan and other matters. Now, they were asked in the process, why is he being delayed? And why are they not expediting his release? Why are they not ensuring that Nnamdi Kanu's plea to be transferred to Kuje prison or to seek bail is actually allowed to occur? And the lawyer is saying that he doesn't know what conspiracy is on hand, but it feels like there are some actors, in the very top echelon of the party that does not want to ensure that Nnamdi Kanu is released. And according to Nnamdi Kanu, he feels that his health is deteriorating and he is being deliberately kept in the DSS custody, so he will die slowly. Well, IPOB has come out to threaten the federal government to expedite the release of Nnamdi Kanu, or if they're prosecuting him, they should expedite the process. That if anything happens to Nnamdi Kanu, they didn't explicitly say, but you can hear the threat that they gave to the federal government if anything happens to him while he is in detention. I would like to actually play where Aloy Ejimako, Nnamdi Kanu's lawyer and legal representative, was able to expeditely tell us what transpired in court during a press conference immediately after Nnamdi Kanu was, immediately after Justice Binta Inyako, slammed her gavel. Let's hear his explanation as to what transpired in court and, of course, help us better understand what took place that day.
I think it's very necessary that we make very clear what happened in court today. We do not want to call it a travesty of justice because of the respect we have for the judiciary, but we are utterly disappointed that today bail was refused. On what grounds? The Supreme Court on 15 December criticized very severely the revocation of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's bail in several pages, which we are going to make available to the media. At pages 19, 20, and 21 of Justice Agem's judgment, he even suggested that the impartiality of the trial court in revoking Nnamdi Kanu's bail is suspect. We didn't mind all of that, but still we made an application, a fresh application, to my Lord, urging her to exercise discretion to restore Nnamdi Kanu's bail. She refused it without any reason whatsoever. And then we made a second application to accentuate the need for this bail application, pointing to the enormous challenges we face as Defense Counsel in consulting with Nnamdi Kanu privately and confidentially at the detention facility of the DSS headquarters in Abuja. We are only allowed 30 minutes each as counsel on only Mondays and Thursdays for a cumulative period of 2 hours, twice a week, to consult with him separately. And the federal government is feasting to have an accelerated trial. Yes, we too want an accelerated trial, but we have to have it under an environment that respects Section 36, sub 6, B and C of the Nigerian Constitution. It's all about fair hearing. It goes to the ground norm. It goes to the basic norms of the society that you must hear the other side. And to hear the other side, he has to have an adequate facility to prepare his defense and to consult with his lawyers. It's the Constitution that said it. It's not us that said it. So we came to my Lord with an application and said, listen, it's impossible for us to conduct this trial under this atmosphere of interference with his right to counsel. They eavesdrop on our conversations. In the little cubicle room of 10 by 10 where we consult with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, they have secret listening devices and secret photographic and videographic devices. They listen to our conversations secretly, they take our secret photographs, and we adduced this evidence before my Lord. They confiscate our legal documents. They don't allow us to take notes. Pray. You may be lay men and lay women. The general public may not be lawyers, but is this fair? How can you have trial under circumstances like this? It's not possible. So we are not stalling. It is the federal government that is stalling. We can't take notes. So what is the essence of it? We cannot prepare him adequately. We cannot talk with him. We whisper. We put our lips to his ear. We talk sort of voice, and so on and so forth. So this is the essence. This is what happened in court today, where justice was turned upside down when our 2 applications that go to fair hearing were refused. But we are going to bounce back. There are more applications to come.
Are you going to appeal?
That was Ijeoma Egwuatu, Nnamdi Kanu's legal representative, right there at the court on Tuesday, where he addressed the press on the circumstance surrounding Nnamdi Kanu in court. And you could hear sympathetically how the condition of Nnamdi Kanu has been all this while, the lack of privacy, which of course is expected because they consider Nnamdi Kanu a threat. So everything about him is being monitored. And of course, he said they're going to bounce back, they're going to continue. Ohaneze Ndibo have also responded by speaking with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, rather pleading with him via the medium of the press to actually see how he can possibly interfere or intervene in accentuating or accelerating the release of Nnamdi Kanu. Either there will be some conditions that will be given, just like the situation with Sunday Igboho. Other interested parties as well have actually spoken and pleaded on his behalf that since his health condition is deteriorating, he should be released, considering the fact that it seems the federal government does not really have any pliable evidence against him. In the same vein, on that particular Tuesday, when Nnamdi Kanu was done, it's been quite a while Nnamdi Kanu addressed the press, but he was very vocal. And we're talking about the criminality that is going on in the southeast, as the spate of insecurity that has bedeviled that aspect of the region. And Nnamdi Kanu was quite, he vituperated, and he actually boasted and said, who dare do what they're doing when he hasn't given the order? And I think this time around we know who he's referring to. He's referring to Simon Ekpa, who resides in Finland. Well, let's take a listen to what Nnamdi Kanu said while he was addressing the press in regards to Simon Ekpa.
Equity and fairness. That's what we're fighting for. Nothing more, nothing less.
and we cannot be cowed by anybody. We are without fear before our enemies. And we speak the truth. I want all the journalists here arrayed to go and ask government of Nigeria, what happened to treasonable felons? Where are those charges today?
From 2015.
They've just disappeared because they have no evidence against me. So I cannot go scot-free. I swear it. They cannot go scot-free. Anybody involved in any type of crime in the East cannot go free. And they're doing it because I'm in DSS. That's what if I said no idiot can try this rubbish, and they know it very well. They know it very well. And I suspect that some people in government are complicit.
Yes.
They are making money with insecurity.
That's correct.
They're making money with it. They know Nnamdi Kanu is outside. In 2 minutes, this nonsense will stop. Who is the idiot? Who is the bagger? That will speak when I'm talking. Who is the fool? Who is the idiot? I ask. That I give an order in the East, and any idiot will counter it. Who is the bastard? I'm asking you. Nobody can.
Sir, are you
I'm Nnamdi Kanu. Who is the idiot? Any form of violence or insecurity in the Southeast in the name of IPOB is a gunner, and they know it. Let me come out of this nonsense, this mess. 2 minutes only.
There will be peace.
Only 2 minutes, I guarantee you.
And tranquility.
And there will be peace in the East. Equity and fairness. That's what we're fighting for. Nothing more, nothing less. And we cannot be cowed by anybody. We are without fear before our enemies. And we speak the truth always. I want all the journalists here arrayed to go and ask government of Nigeria, what happened to treasonable felons? Where are those charges today?
From 2015.
They have just disappeared because they have no evidence against me. So I cannot go scot-free. I swear it. They cannot go scot-free. Anybody involved in any type of crime in the East cannot go free. And they're doing it because I'm in DSS. That's what if I said no idiot can try this rubbish, and they know it very well. They know it very well. And I suspect that some people in government are complicit.
Yes.
They are making money with insecurity.
That's correct.
They're making money with it. They know Nnamdi Kanu is outside. In 2 minutes, this nonsense will stop. Who is the idiot? Who is the bagger? That will speak when I'm talking. Who is the fool? Who is the idiot? I ask. That I give an order in the East, and any idiot will counter it. Who is the bastard? I'm asking you. Nobody can.
Sir, are you
I'm Nnamdi Kanu. Who is the idiot? Any form of violence or insecurity in the Southeast
In the name of
IPOB is a gunner, and they know it. Let me come out of this nonsense, this mess. 2 minutes only.
There will be peace.
Only 2 minutes, I guarantee you.
And tranquility.
And there will be peace in the East. Not just Southeast. Everywhere in the East, if not the entire South.
No, it's good.
Huh?
Yes.
All right, you just listened to Nnamdi Kanu. This was on Tuesday after his court proceeding when he had to address the press. And of course, we do know whom he was referring to. He was actually referring to Simon Ekpa, whom the federal government has declared wanted. Simon Ekpa is being declared wanted by the federal government of Nigeria along with other terrorists. I will read that later, their names mentioned. And in responding, Simon Ekpa is also declaring the federal government and President Bola Ahmed Tinubu wanted. Okay, let's see how things go. Now let's head on to one particular individual who has a way of talking in a very theatrical manner. Although he's an actor, so he's expected when you hear Kenneth Okonkwo speak. Now he was on a Micon podcast with Okonkwo, who is a presenter with one of the popular television stations in Nigeria, and this particular podcast is an isolated one. It has no affiliation with the television station that Okonkwo works with. And, quite a lot was actually talked about on that particular podcast, from the Arab portal from the 2023 elections to the ticket of the APC in 2023, the current economic reality in the country, to the Labour Party, and as well present day economic circumstance and 2027 as a whole, considering also the crisis within the Labour Party. 60. Like I said, it was quite a lot in that particular chat. And he shed light on the two cases of the party's presidential election court case last year. And like I told you, it was during an interview with Seun Okinbaloye where he revealed that they utilized the INEC result viewing portal to gather crucial evidence. He said through this portal, they were able to calculate and show that they had emerged victorious in the presidential election in Benue and Rivers states. However, despite the compelling evidence presented via the IRF portal, the court deemed it inadmissible. He said the reason cited was that the evidence had been submitted by a subpoenaed witness after the specified deadline of 21 days. In Okonkwo's words, when we went to the court by our portal, we were able to show that we won the election in Rivers and Benue State, but they said it was not admissible because it came by a subpoenaed witness, which brought its evidence after 21 days. Kenneth Okonkwo actually divulged quite a lot in that particular interview. According to him, he said that RF declared the winner through a glitched process. I don't know, if you try to watch that interview, you'll hear quite a lot of things that he divulged there. And I'm going to play a snippet of that interview. However, I would implore you to please show Okinbaloye's questions were also part of the conversation in there, which will create the premise for you to understand Kenneth Okonkwo's response to the questions he's been asked. Let's quickly take a listen to him.
States. I have no regrets. Most of my political friends are Muslims. So when you go Muslim ticket, I rejected it because it's unconstitutional.
What part of the Constitution is this?
We are talking about Section 14. We are talking about the Constitution says the composition of any government and the conduct of its affairs must be done in such a manner as to recognize the federal character. You must recognize the diversity of your country. It's Section 14, 3 and 4. And he said, the reason is this, by the Constitution, so that your government can command national loyalty and give everybody a sense of belonging. You know the truth. The people that are suffering most in this government today are Muslims. So what has the Muslim ticket benefited them? It was a political strategy. It was not a religious strategy.
But it worked.
It failed.
Because they won the election
through technical glitch.
What do you mean by that?
What I mean by that is that technical glitch glitched the original election. And by 4:30 a.m. when people were asleep, they gave us results that emanated. I was in the Court of Appeal. The first orders we asked the Court of Appeal to give to us was an order that INEC should allow us to inspect the beavers. 3 orders. INEC obeyed none of it. And yet INEC went to the same court and told the court to give them order to reconfigure the beavers before we inspected it. And the court did nothing. And then when we proceeded in the hearing of the case, the court now said we had 21 days to produce every evidence which INEC refused to give us. And then they say subpoena witnesses cannot come to give witness, they cannot come to give evidence after 21 days. 176,000 polling units. They say we should prove it polling unit by polling unit. And we have 3 weeks.
Is that not the position of the law?
I disagreed with them because from the law I read, it couldn't have been the position. Because you are dealing with an adversary who you say did something wrong, the adversary has interest in hiding information from you. And then you, the court, you're saying, if he can hide this information and this evidence from you for 21 days, your case is dead. It couldn't have been the intendment of the law.
But the God says that, for you are claiming and alleging that there is no substantial compliance with the electoral law.
Oh, yes.
And the law says you must prove beyond reasonable doubt.
The law is very clear on electronic transmission. And let me tell you the rule of law. In one case, miscellaneous offenses tribunal versus Okonkwo, they defined rule of law as doing everything according to the law and making sure the government actions are done according to the law. And that case excluded discretionary powers and arbitrary powers of government. And you know what the courts ruled? They said INEC had the discretion to choose whether they will transmit electronically or not. That is tangentially against even the fundamental definition of rule of law. No creature of law is allowed to use arbitrary power or discretionary power to do anything. That's against rule of law, because the definition of rule of law is that everything must be done according to law. And the law is very clear. You must transmit electronically. Section 65 is there. Then, if you don't want to say section 65 because they don't use certain words, what about section 64?
Mr. Okonkwo, what is the standard of proof in an election matter?
Election matters are sui generis. The standard of proof is balance of probability, because it's a civil proceeding. However, if you are alleging any offense within the criminal proceeding by the Evidence Act, the standard of proof of that particular allegation, which is tainted with crime, must be beyond reasonable doubt. So these are two different things.
So I'm asking, and the reason why I asked for the standard of proof in this matter, which is civil in nature, of course, when you say that people have manipulated the process, you're talking a criminal dimension into what is generally a civil situation. But the question is that those who believe that the lawyers in the Peter Obi matter did not do justice in trying as much as possible to tell the court that the election was rigged.
Yeah.
And that those who say the lawyers should blame themselves and not blame the process of the law.
No. The process of law is very clear. The court told you that INEC has discretion. Where is it in the law? And I'm saying it is fundamentally wrong, because that goes against the judgment of Supreme Court, against what rule of law has defined itself as. I told you that rule of law rules out discretionary powers. And INEC is a creation of the law. INEC itself made rules and regulations and say they must transmit electronically. After that 2023 election, I watched your program, and you were asking some of the electoral officers, because you wanted yourself to know what is the position of the law. Are you going to transmit electronically? And they say yes. They will transmit electronically. That is the position of the law in your program. Meanwhile, the court said no, that's not the position of the law, because they have a discretion to do whatever they like. Can you imagine? And the Supreme Court supported it. I disagree with that, and I will continue to disagree with that perpetually, because it's a destruction of rule of law. INEC is a creation of the law, and INEC must do all its work according to the law. A creation of law is telling you what the law is, and you, the court, is saying no, that's not the law. Is that not ridiculous?
Now those who believe that the election,
the Supreme Court is the final court of the land. I said the judgment of the Supreme Court has bestowed constitutionality on his regime, but not democracy. Democracy is the government of the people. The power must verifiably flow from the people. I have not been convinced that his power flew from the people, because the people have not been told, according to the Electoral Act, Section 62, they've not been given their results, polling unit by polling unit, and tabulated and calculated, an answer given. If you have seen such, please let me know. I have not. And in mathematics, if you go straight to quote the answer without the formula, they will tell you probably you stole it. So if you have seen the formula with which they arrived at that conclusion, you as a journalist, polling unit by polling unit, I will be willing to cross-check it.
The judiciary,
when we went to
Mr.
court,
Okonkwo,
when we went to court, by the IREF portal, we were able to calculate to show that we won the election in Benue and we won the election in Rivers. But they said no, it's not admissible because it came by a subpoena witness, which brought his evidence after the 21 days. So sorry.
The judiciary is a leg in our democratic process. So if the judiciary says President Tinubu is the president,
that is why he's answering president.
Yeah, but do you see him as your president though?
I wouldn't know what you're saying. I said the Supreme Court is the final court. The first statement I made was that I disagree with the Supreme Court, but because I'm a Democrat, I accept the judgment. That is the judgment the Supreme Court said, and that is what I accepted.
But will you be willing?
All right, that was the interview, a snippet actually. It was quite a lengthy one. But basically on this aspect of the conversation, I really needed us to hear Kenneth Okonkwo's response. She was trying to ask him, have you not moved on? The Supreme Court has actually affirmed President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as a winner of the 2023 elections. They needed to get that clarification out there. And Kenneth Okonkwo says, since the Supreme Court, which is the final arbiter of the law, has declared him the winner, he has no choice but to accept him as, the president, because of the fact that he is a Democrat. But from his response, you can actually tell he's actually saying that it was the glitched IRA portal that transmitted Bola Tinubu to become the president. INEC enabled the entire process. I'm sure you listened to that aspect of the conversation. And of course, we will like to move on to the Labour Party. There's quite a lot to talk about, but I want my analysts to share their thoughts on some of these issues I have raised. We saw the crisis bedeviling the Labour Party in the course of the week, and questions have been asked that this is not a good image. It doesn't set the premise or a proper foundation for Peter Obi if he intends to run in 2027. The Labour Party seems to be crushing on itself and allowing some whether external or internal element to actually widen the fracture that had already begun ever since the tribunal commenced, while the Labour Party was trying to defend their principle at the tribunal. And the latest development is the fact that trade union veterans who formed the Labour Party called on the embattled chairman of the party, Mr. Julius Abure, to resign following allegations of monumental cases of fraud leveled against him. And in a statement which was signed for on behalf of the veterans by Comrade Lawson Osage, they regretted that the noble ideals that made them form the Labour Party to free Nigerian people from decades of bad governance are being desecrated by Abure. I'm sure in the course of the week you also saw where Joe Ajero, who is NLC chair, actually stormed the headquarters of the Labour Party, asking that Julius Abure be, stepped down from his position, saying that he doesn't represent the ideal interests of the Labour Party. And questions arose in the whole of this matter. Where is Peter Obi? Why is he not trying to resolve the problem? This is a very huge embarrassment to the party as a whole. Even the obedient movement themselves actually had to say something in that regard, specifically with the Edo elections that is coming up. The obedient movement said that they are coming together is because of Peter Obi and not necessarily because of any other person. When questions were asked as to their support for Olumide Akpata, well, thankfully, Peter Obi has actually come in and he waded into the matter. This was disclosed by his chief spokesman for the Obi Dati Presidential Campaign Organization, Yunus Atanko. He made this known on Friday. He actually stated that in an interview actually with one of the online newspapers, Punch, Tanko said Obi has waded into the crisis by meeting with members of the House of Representatives and the leadership of the party. He said the former governor of Anambra State traveled to Asaba, Delta State capital, to meet with the National Working Committee and party leaders. And Tanko revealed that Obi urged the party leadership to consider shifting the contentious National Convention to a later date for all aggrieved parties to have a meaningful and wider consultation. Now, there have been calls that Peter Obi should actually see, if possibly he can leave the Labour Party and form a different political party, this one where he is the one who built it from the foundation, and maybe, just maybe, his ideals or what he represented will be transmitted or eliminated on the new formation of the political party. Others try to call it the obedient political party or the obedient movement. But in this regard, I'm sure you know Daniel Bwala. Daniel Bwala actually said that what he considers is the fact that Peter Obi is being controlled by the obedient movement, meaning that anything you tell Peter Obi to do, or any information you ask Peter Obi of, even if he wants to make a decision for himself, the obedient movement would actually say, if they say otherwise, Peter Obi would actually go ahead with it, meaning that possibly he's being controlled by the obedience, or he doesn't have, a strong formation of his own. I don't know how true that is, but that's what Daniel Bwala is actually saying. Well, like I said, there's quite a lot in that particular regard, and I actually want to introduce my analyst. Like I said, a lot happened in the course of the week. We also want to talk about the Okuama Bayelsa killings and the soldiers that were killed, and a lot of revelations that came up that this particular conflict in that particular community between Okuama and Okuama, it seems that there is a political intention, and at the base of this entire ordeal is oil well dispute. It's all about the oil. Why were the military there to resolve any situation? If it's a civil matter, why was the police not invited? Who drafted the military men to come in there to seek for peace? The community members said that the military men came in, were asking to take away the leaders, the traditional leaders in the community, and the youth there said, no, why would you want to take our leaders? And according to some of them, based on what we read online, they said that the military men shot at some of the town dwellers. Some people died, about 29 or 30 people died. And so what transpired, or what happened to the military personnel, was a reprisal attack. There have been several reports on what happened, who did what or who did not do what. We saw some reports as well. The military is actually in Bayelsa, and there are complaints that it raised from communities in trying to avenge their colleagues who were killed by some militants within the community. And a lot of political elites and advocates are asking the federal government to ensure that they do not kill innocent people further. They should not commit genocide. And what transpired in 1999, that is the OD situation under former President Olusegun Obasanjo, should not repeat or reoccur. These are most of the issues that transpired in the course of the week that actually set the tone for a lot of back and forth in the conversation. So I want to introduce my guest right here in the studio. First of all, I want to say that one person has not been with us for a very long time, and I'm actually glad that he's here today. He's quite passionate. He's a political national affairs commentator. He's also a journalist. He's actually been in the business for almost 3 decades, and that is Mr. Elvis Elimehele. Mr. Elvis Elimehele, good evening and welcome to the Political Spotlight.
Good evening, our esteemed listener.
How are you?
I'm glad to be back here.
Yes. Finally, you're here. Also, I want to welcome Barrister Joe Nwokedi. Barrister Joe Nwokedi is also here with us this evening to give us his perspective on some of these issues that are raised up, in the introduction of the Political Spotlight. Barrister Joe, good evening and thank you for joining us.
Good evening, our viewers. It promises to be a very wonderful moment.
Yes. All right, as quickly as possible, because I want to open the phone lines very soon. Let's start off with the Okuama situation, Okuama and Okoloba. I want to know what your take is about it as briefly as you can. Let's start with you, Mr. Elvis. Yes, because that's your area.
Well, it's a very sad situation, Esther, and the story has been everywhere. I have to first of all commiserate with the gallant officers that lost their lives in that incident. But like you said in your prologue, it has become political, and in our side, especially that South, oil politics has become an issue. Yes, and people are asking why the military, going into settling dispute between two communities. And people are asking, at the time the military, opened fire on the Okuama people in their town hall, what happened that story was not out? What happened that Delta State House of Assembly was not in the know? And even the state government did not make mention of it. Esther, this is the era of technology where even in this studio, what we are doing here, now people are already aware of what we are doing here. So nobody could even record such situation and post it online for people to see.
Okay.
Now the military came in and there was a reprisal attack, or rather from the Okuama people, as we are hearing from them now. It was that one that now came up first, that soldiers were killed, 17 soldiers died. Why did the one that happened to them, why did you not hear about it ever since? So there are so many back and front on that to that story, Esther. Remember that this is certain local government. It's a local government in Ughelli South local government. They have a representative in the house. Delta State House of Assembly. Even if not any other thing, why didn't the people of this village call their representatives? This is what is happening to us. So we cannot even release this, but help us to tell the world what we are going through. These stories won't have been the way we are hearing it now. Now it has become so politicized. We are even seeing another part of some. I was watching some clips this evening in a television that a village in Iberomatu, or what they call the village in Baesa, for the past 1 week they've been under siege, no food, no water, they cannot go out. Some of them are even in the bush. They even say there are some dead body in the bush, and some of them even in the creek and on the river. So just a little thing that would have been sorted out amicably. These are communities that have lived together for a very long time. Okuama and Ikoloba they are not new to themselves. Okay, what even happened to the traditional rulers of both communities? If there is anything that has to do with dispute between the communities, at least there are prominent people from both sides that will say, okay, we don't want this thing to fester. Let's find a way to quell it before it gets to this level we are now. So what I'm saying here, Esther, is beyond communal clash. It has to do more of oil politics that have ravaged our South region. That even our people in the South are not comfortable with everything that is coming from the federal government. So that they came up with Opadek some time ago. People used it to enrich themselves. And the NDDC has been there over the years. People are using it to enrich themselves at the detriment of the people. Just few. Then we have the one they call amnesty. Amnesty program.
Even on Padek.
People are using it. So where are some few are using it to enrich them. So where are the people in the people of this region in all these that the federal government have set up? So if the federal government is actually wanting a lasting peace in the Niger Delta, I think the federal government should go beyond what has just happened now, because if this one is not for store, we saw it. 20 years ago, 1999, over 24 years ago, and another one is repeating itself again now. We don't know what the next town or village that will happen next. The federal government should look into all these policies that they set up in Niger Delta that were supposed to be meant to ameliorate the suffering of the Niger Deltas, which some few individuals within the South and Niger Delta region have hijacked it to enrich themselves.
Mele Kyari has actually said that everyone is involved in crude oil theft. He said everybody, from even the community members up to the traditional leaders, even to governors of the state, that they're all involved in the situation with crude oil thefts in that particular community. And you realize that locality is hugely underdeveloped, like it's deliberately left so not to be developed, despite the resource you're getting in terms of like a compensation for the fact that the oil is residing in their area, and they get money. Like you have the NDDC, and there's no development in that area. Nothing is going on in that area.
That's exactly what I'm telling you now, Esther. These policies were very good that the federal government put up. They started with Ompadek. Ompadek failed. They came up with NDDC. They even came up with amnesty program. All these are supposed to be policies that are supposed to alleviate the suffering of especially the youth in the Niger Delta. But unfortunately, are you seeing all these things happening? It is not happening. So few people are, appointed into these offices, and they've turned into be cash cow at the detriment of the Nigerian Delta youth and those that are supposed to be these things are supposed to be meant for them. So if the federal government is seeing that it's not working, why not come out? But do you know that even as far as establishing the Ministry of Niger Delta, just to alleviate all this, where are all these? We still hear crisis every day in Niger Delta, stealing of the crude. You are hearing vessels being hauled out of Nigeria by some powerful men in the Niger Delta and even in Nigeria generally. So if these things are meant to work and for people to benefit from the God-given resources they have, federal governments must come up truthfully and plainly to speak the truth to what has happened. Now 17 persons gone, officers and soldiers gone. This one should not just be, this should be an avenue for them to look at all these policies that they've set up that are not working, that are not benefiting the Niger Delta, that are still resulting to these crises that are leading to all these unnecessary deaths that we are seeing in Niger Delta. It's just a big opportunity for federal government to revisit all these policies.
Barrister Joe Wilkede, this question is for you. Let's look at the whole situation with Mazen Nnamdi Kanu and his plea to the court to let him be transferred to Kuje prison. He has actually made allegations that the federal government intends to leave him in the DSS custody to kill him slowly. That's your intention. He said he has had congestions. He opened his shirt in the court. He said there are lumps under my armpit, which indicates that something is internally wrong with him. He's not breathing properly, he's not comfortable, and he needs proper and adequate health care, observation. He also talked about the fact that in DSS custody, despite several times that he has been asked to be properly looked into, that he's poorly, he's poorly looked at. So why have they not facilitated that process for him? That's one. Two, if there has been no evidence whatsoever in all the claims of the federal government through the DSS have transferred to the court against Nnamdi Kanu, why is he still in the DSS custody?
Okay, let me take your question one by one.
Okay.
Firstly, the issue of transferring him to Kuje prison as against DSS facility. I believe it is a very, very innocuous application. The court wouldn't have had any difficulty in granting. Recently, when I had a matter in court, I was faced with a similar application. A man that police got 28 days detention warrant to detain at the facility of the police, and he complained of so many deprivations and lack of access to so many things. Any person that is still undergoing trial is presumed to be innocent according to practices until he is proved guilty. So he has all the rights of a full citizen of Nigeria. None will be deprived of him just because of the fact he's undergoing trial. Now they brought the person to court on the cause of arraignment. The prosecutor made application to remand the person at police custody.
Okay.
Here he was detained illegally or even by court order, maliciously or mischievously for 28 days. I rose up. I countered the application. I said, my Lord, these people are interested parties.
Okay.
They have interest in this matter. They've already exhibited mischief by getting this order, detention order, for to detain this man for 28 days for a matter that ought to have been like a normal case. As a result of that, it will not be fair, equitable, and justifiable for the same man to be remanded in their custody. They are hostile people. By virtue of their position and the roles they have played in that, they are hostile. And it will not be fair for our client to be remanded in that custody, the defendants at that level. The same is applicable in Nnamdi Kanu's case. DSS are hostile people in that case. Court should not have hesitated in the first place by not granting that application. These are the people that just bundled him, treated him anyhow, had issues with him, and you see allowed him to be detained in their facilities. It is dangerous. It is illegal. It's unlawful. It is mischievous. It's malicious. For the fact that the lawyer actually made that application, we have given the court an avenue for court to willingly grant that Kalu be remanded in Kuje prison, a proper prison, fashioned, designed, built for people awaiting trial or people that have already been convicted. A prison conceived in its infrastructure, in structural arrangement to be where people will stay with proper facilities of a correctional center, both medical facilities, health facilities, recreational facilities, water, other things that somebody can be engaged in. DSS custody was not built to be a place of that nature. It was designed to be a place that can be held temporarily, pending when you be charged to court. Just a police cell. Why would I keep somebody there? I don't know why when Nigerians will grow to begin to practice a real democracy and real legal system as obtainable in foreign jurisdictions. And courts made such application in court, and you denied it. On what grounds? We cannot question our judges. They know everything. They have their discretion. They have their powers. We don't question them. But in most cases, we still give our opinion. And it is wrong. Again, but for bail, even when somebody is charged with offense punishable by death, offense, he still has the right to apply for bail. But just that the bail condition will be stringent. Additional Criminal Justice says ACJA, that guides every of our conduct and activities at the Federal High Court and other things, says that the condition might be stringent. But there are grounds that must be fulfilled before a court of law, before that application will be granted. And once you're able to fulfill those grounds, then even though the offense being tried for is punishable by death, the court can still grant them. And one of the major grounds is grounds of health. Health grant. And once you're able to satisfy the court that there is a need for that person to have access to his medications, and the place where he's detained in custody cannot guarantee his access to his medications and medical treatment, adequate medical attention. Do you understand my point? Yes. Court will grant that request, will grant that bail on a certain kind of condition, on a tougher condition. But the bail, because if you're able to meet that condition, then they'll give you bail. That's why you see some cases they say drop your traveling documents, drop your ID card, drop your this, report to this place, do this and do this, and you'll be held within jurisdiction. You'll be detained in your room, in your parlor, in a house. They'll give you condition, but they'll give you bail. But you can have access to your doctor. Doctor can come to your house and treat you, but you don't go to the hospital. But you come to your house and treat you. You begin. They'll give you, but they'll give you upon certain conditions, of which if you meet it, then the case of Nnamdi Kanu, from which I believe is like a more of a hula balloon, so much noise and lack of substance. Not because of social media and everything, and what the young man stands for, and the level of followers and everything. A threat for me. Trial for Nnamdi Kanu is trial of ego, political ego. He has amassed so many followers, so many authorities, so many commands. So they are seeing Nnamdi Kanu as a government inside government. It's a more of act of fear. What will he do if, just like when you cage a lion, and if I cage this lion, can this lion say go after my goats, go after other animals? We don't know whether if you say lion, we won't cage you, but don't go after lions, don't go after goats or whatever, or other animals, you will listen. That is a major fear. Because if you look at the whole issue surrounding Nnamdi Kanu, it's almost nothing. They couldn't, because if they actually have substantial evidence against Nnamdi Kanu, but based on criminal matters have actually handled, they will have applied for accelerated hearing. They have been an application for 3-4 days to be given at a stretch. That's my point. Within 4 months, they discharge everything about Nnamdi Kanu's trial. You don't want to make grant application for accelerated hearing. You don't want to grant bail, and you don't want to also change grant application to change him from the facility of a hostile party. Look at what the lawyer said.
Yes.
For somebody that's standing trial, you have to give him unfettered, allow him unfettered access to his counsel.
Yes.
Unmonitored, unfettered, because he cannot eavesdrop into what he's telling his lawyer. There are so many secret information he want to give his lawyer. They keep him in DSS custody, where the camera, everything will be seen. So how can that person prepare for his trial? So everything,
and whatever legal strategy they want to apply, they can talk about it.
Confidential talks, and it's even illegal because you are depriving of his right to his privacy, which is also one of the powers given to every citizen of Nigeria, Fundamental Right Enforcement Procedure Act. They are depriving of that privacy. So how can the lawyer now communicate to you? So have a conversation with him. Prepare for trial. Ask him questions. Did you do this? Did you not do that? How do we go about this? How do we present this in court? Okay, you admitted you do this. Then that admission, what do you think it will cost? That is trial. In trial, you prepare your arms. I prepare my arms. I have one matter involving this and another. I say, look, you can't force us to help you in your case. You can't force us to admit that we did something. Prove it that we did it. That's what the law says. Yes, I might have murdered somebody. I'll come to court and tell court I didn't murder anybody. That does not mean I will go free. I'm telling you the prosecution, prove that I murdered somebody. It is not my duty to come and tell court how I murdered somebody. You are the one as the prosecution counsel.
So provide the evidence.
Call your witnesses, call every PW1, PW2, or PW1, to call to substantiate that claim that I murdered somebody. And once that is able to be proved before a judge sentences me. But it is not my duty, and I won't help you. I don't know. I can't help you. Yes, I can't help you. The lawyer for the defense cannot help you. The defendants cannot help you. It is your duty to do that. That's what the law says. So what are they not trying to say? So for me, it is something very, very wrong.
Okay.
And okay, look at his counterpart. Sunday has been released. So what fear do you have? Nigeria is still a country that people paint. The way they treat things in Nigeria, you begin to, like, when people read meanings into it and read tribalism and religion, whatever, they begin to accuse that person of not being, diplomatic, of not being nationalistic, of not being but your attitude will always portray something that will make people to begin to reason in that dimension.
But even if the government or the DSS are afraid of the fact that he could be a flight risk, I mean, I know that Ohanaeze Ndigbo, I recall the Enugu state governor, even Chukwuma Soludo of Anambra State, they've all come together to plead with the president that they could actually be like a party, someone who can be in charge or be responsible. Like a short T for Nnamdi Kanu, whereby they're responsible to actually produce him in court whenever he needs to appear in court, meaning that he'll be under their protection. But they refuse to attend to that particular request from them.
Governor, President Ijeoma has also made such a submission.
But they should do more.
They are credible shorties.
Okay.
The court, like I said, if you want to grant bail is at cost discretion.
All right.
Except a matter that is on the face value, prima facie, a bailable offense. That one court must grant bail.
All right.
A treatable offense is at cost discretion to either grant bail or not to grant bail. But where you plead issue of health and other grounds, court ought to grant bail, but it will be like conditional.
Okay.
But it's left for court to now come up with terms of that bail, conditions of that bail, to be met before you be released. So if he says, okay, we want to grant Nnamdi Kanu bail, on the condition of the 5 governors of Southeast must sign that Nnamdi Kanu must not be allowed to go beyond Southeast. Just my point now. On the ground that Nnamdi Kanu's international passport, everything will be seized. On the ground that Nnamdi Kanu will only move around within Imo State, Abia State. On the ground that Nnamdi Kanu will even be in Abuja alone. He cannot go beyond Abuja, where the federal government will be seen in.
It's almost like a house arrest.
We saw that with Sore when he was released. He was confined to Abuja alone.
And couldn't go beyond that place.
These are bail conditions. They say it is at the court discretion. They allow him to be set free from that prison facilities. Imagine saying you not even grant press releases.
All right.
He will be around, but the very big he grants press releases will amount to the revocation of that bail. Has jumped there. They will apply for
Mr. Chomoked, I think one of the grounds that a lot of people are looking at in terms of Nnamdi Kanu's case is they say that Nnamdi Kanu made a lot of inciting statements that was meant to divide the country and also solicited for the killings of a lot of Nigerians from several locations in the country, which they refer to what Simon Ekpa is doing. And it is because of that that maybe the government or the DSS refuses to actually grant him bail, or like you said, the bail conditions that were mentioned, it is on that guy's his influence, outside that the DSS, they're trying to deny him access to certain people that may want to go ahead to do whatever bidding that he asks them to do. Do you think this could be a ground for it?
That's absolutely false. I can tell you I'm from the Southeast. When Nnamdi Kanu was a free man, do we have the kind of level of killings we had in the southeast than what happened when he was incarcerated? When Nnamdi Kanu was incarcerated, southeast killing in southeast got out of control. Some people couldn't go home. Some people couldn't even travel for Christmas and so many things. Unknown government sprang up, ESN sprang up, kidnapping got everywhere. So anybody saying that because they were when Nnamdi Kanu was free, we didn't see all those things. What they were doing just like a protest, which have run into commemorating Biafra and whatever. They carry their flags and their numbers in different places, singing and moving along the roads. I'm telling you, you guys, they were not armed. They were not a kind of militant in nature. But when he now left, the command and control now got scattered. Some miscreants began to take advantage of the fact it's all under. There is no a kind of a concentrated voice that is now directing how things should be done. And that was how the situation became so volatile. Today, some towns like Lilu, like so many towns between the border Anambra and Imo became even captured, and all that. So they started killing soldiers. So I started killing them. So because there is nobody you can now hold responsible. When Nnamdi Kanu was around, was free, at least you will come and talk. You see him. You engage him, you say something else. Governors, southeastern governors called him to a meeting and we attended. They spoke to, there was an election that ought to take place, I think 2021 or 2022, there about 2020. They said there was no election, they said there was the election. And then someone Nnamdi Kanu, Ben Mabeze was still alive. Nnamdi Kanu came and they said we want to have the election in the southeast. Nnamdi Kanu said, okay, there's no problem. Another election, hell, it was another election. 2018 or 20 thereabout. He went back and there was an election. He said, okay, no problem. He came to Tinubu Presidential Hotel. He listened to them. He said, okay, no problem. There will be an election. They said, he said, look, young man, there will be an election in the house. That's why we are calling him. And he came. You know, you have somebody you are speaking to. Now, who are we speaking to? Unknown men, unknown government, unknown faces. Somebody from Finland that will speak. Another one saying another one gentle from somewhere will speak. Another one call himself another Abu somewhere will speak. Another one. That's there's no concentrated voice. If actually the federal government loves, like Tinubu is struggling to do now,
yes,
like what he did about the kidnapped girls, kidnapped girls in Kaduna State and all that. If they want to have a country that has a peace, where people can go about their normal business and everything, let Nnamdi Kanu be given bail.
Okay.
And give him conditional bail. I'm not saying give him unfettered, give him conditional bail. Let him come. Let him be under the control of the governors. Like somebody that actually opted to be the governor of Enugu State. I also wanted to identify himself to be part of that. God, let them know that at least something has been done. Let his boys be possible. Everybody is fighting. I knew actually what's actually heightened the whole fight was all this Fulani herdsmen. All the fear of Fulani herdsmen invading Nigeria under Buhari. That was actually what made those guys to begin to say phantomly come up with protecting their lands. And they saw how won the heart of the people against Fulani Marudas, Fulani herdsmen. And as a matter of fact, Fulani herdsmen were everywhere there. You are the express, they were everywhere, even in the Delta, before late Governor Akredu now came up with a Southern Governors Forum to combat, to stop the influx and the kind of disastrous activities of Fulani herdsmen in Southern Nigeria. So it was that reaction that made those men to even take advantage of that. But some of them have provided command and control was not there, and I become like disintegrated.
All right, thank you, Pastor. We need to take phone calls. Mr. Alves, let's come on to Kenneth Okonkwo. Will you agree with some of the things he said? He sounded like he will not accept what the Supreme Court affirmed, in as much as he said he has no choice, but two, because he's a democratic person. But he made a statement. He said technical glitched the APC presidential candidate into power at 4:30 a.m. when Nigerians slept. I made quite a lot of expose in his response to Sean Okunbaloye. What would you say to that?
Well, I think at the end of that discussion, that interview, he answered everything. When he said he's a Democrat, even though he's not in line with the judgment of the Supreme Court, but he has accepted him. That's what every Nigerian is doing at the moment. we cannot overturn the judgment any longer. So as far as President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is concerned, the next 4 years, which 1 year is almost going off now, 3 years and some months, he's going to be the president of Nigeria. We can't overturn that. So I think that's where he ended everything.
Okay.
Elections are gone. We are now facing governance.
But a lot of people feel that it is what was currently bedeviling the country at the moment is the process through which the elections went, and the fact that they feel that INEC went against the law, and it seems the court supported
Esther, what we should be doing now, everything about this 2027 election rests with the National Assembly now, if we want to be truthful.
Okay.
All the shenanigans we saw in 2023 should be compiled. Let there be a reworking. I'm not even going to be
Do you think this present National Assembly
No, Esther, let's get here. Of the Electoral Act.
Okay.
Every area that never favored Nigeria in 2023, it should be reworked.
And I'm asking, with the combination of the National
I
Assembly,
am telling you that the people owns democracy.
Okay.
People voted in there. They are representative of constituency. Constituencies are made up of people. Now, if we say, IRF Porter was jettisoned, okay, because one or two things, the reasons they gave. Now we want IRF Porter to serve as one of the major tools for transmitting results in 2027. We should come up with it. If these people are not ready, what happened to protest? Protest is legal in democracy. We are not calling about firearm. We are not calling about riot. Protest that should be occupying the National Assembly. For the people's will to prevail, Esther, for the people's will to be heard, their voices must be heard. We want a repetition of what happened in 2023 to repeat itself again in 2027. This is the time. Now, the people must begin to organize themselves. Civil society organization must begin to do their job.
Okay.
At this time, every trade union organization in Nigeria must begin to come up now how to make the next election 2027 to be better than what we saw in 2023. We are all aggrieved. Everybody is angry. This is not how we wanted it. Then we want to bottle that anger until we get to 2027 again. Then we start shifting the goalposts at the middle of the game. It will be too late. Esther, look at what happened in our next door neighbor Senegal. The president Macky Sall alone wanted to start manipulating the constitution. First of all, he wanted another turn, third turn. The people said no way. They went to the street. They got it. That one was abrogated. Again, he was wanting to tactically shift the election from this very March till December. So that he will stay another 1 year before he will be talking of swearing in will now be 2025. People said no way, you can't get it. The election is holding now. The people went back to the street again, and they went to court, and the court said let the election hold. It is the right of the people. So what are we talking about? Nigerians must know where the shoe pitches them. If Nigerians are dormant in these next 3-4 years, let me tell you, what we saw in 2023 is just a child's play. This is the time for Nigerians to come out and confront the National Assembly members. They were voted in for a purpose, not just coming to share rice and beans as palliative. That's not what we're talking about. Nigerians want to be able to feed themselves. If we have good government, nobody will begin to talk of palliative. If we must jettison that, we have to have the right government in 2027 that will be able to take the economy of Nigeria to where we want it, so that we will not begin to a big power, a big family will not be in the street again. We don't. Nigerians, are we heard of Nigerians crying on hunger before now? Nigerians don't. We are very strong people. We fend for ourselves. But since this government came in, and Nigerians are hungry. You saw what happened on Thursday at National State University. Where some students died as a result of palliative stampede. And you saw what happened in customs office here in Lagos last time. 7 people died. So is that how we are going to continue? If we must get for all these things to be aligned, there must be proper election. If election is gotten right, let me tell you, Esther, every other thing in Nigeria we force in, naturally. It's because we are having hand packing election. Somebody will come and make statement, snatch it, grab it, snatch it, and run away with it, and it will fall in as he has said. That's why we are having all these issues. If we begin to tell them no, the people owns democracy, and people must get it the way they want it. If they get to the office, Esther, they will do the bidding of the people. Since the removal of fuel subsidy, do you know how much goes to state governors now? They share trillions every month in Abuja. Is it reflecting on the people they pretend to be governing? Are you seeing it?
What's the share money?
Immediately they share the money with their commissioners. They start converting it to dollars. And as a result, you now begin to hear $1,900, $1,800. You know, they should first of all. This is the time the people must hold the elected members of whatever responsible. So I am able to look at the electoral system and look at the constitution where it is not favoring the people. I saw what they call the advocate, or what they call them, this patriots. You know, last week talking when they had a conference on the late former one basic. They were talking about that this constitution is not patchable. Let us begin to come up with how we can have a new constitution. It is doable, but because there are some 50 people who are benefiting from it, they want to sit on it that it's not possible. I want us to take some calls, but before we do that, let's look at the Labour Party as a political party. They've been embroiled in quite a lot of conflicts internally. Some say these are external factors that have actually created that conflict within them. We saw the call for Julius Abure to resign. We saw the NLC chair also being part of this entire process and saying that the Labour Party belongs to the NLC, and it was now obvious the intention of Joe Ajaro, politically. You remember when the president told Joe Ajaro when they wanted to commence on a strike and told them to wait till 2027. That statement actually was what was reverberated when Joe Ajaro actually was asking for the resignation of Julius Abure. I mean, that intention was obviously clear. And Olumide Akpata, who won the Labour Party primaries and is supposed to be the Labour Party Edo State, the flag bearer, the Obedient Movement have actually dissociated themselves. They said their concern more is Peter Obi and or whatnot. But the crisis that stemmed within the party got people talking, and they're asking Peter Obi, is it not possible for him to distance himself from this, as this will taint his ambition or whatever process he has commenced ahead of 2027? You've seen Peter Obi move around, you've seen him critique the government, you've seen him encourage, he has donated, he's been quite humanitarian and being a philanthropist in the process. So the question is, would you recommend that he should start off a new political movement or create a different political party that has the ideals as the foundation? Or like now, he has waded into the crisis, and maybe let's see how the Labour Party would shape up from now on. Esther, the first function of a leader is the ability to manage crisis.
Okay.
Yes, even as a father in the house. If you're able to manage crisis from your family, you can manage crisis within society. I'm not looking at I'm not going to advise Obi to chicken out and go and form another political party.
Okay.
It is not it will dent his leadership acme.
All right.
When it is turbulent in this manner, we want to see those that are resilient and able to say no, it must work. And the people stand for that. What is going on in Labour Party is just mere gangsterism and rascality. Do you understand? Joe Ajero has his own office as NLC president, quite defined, and he has his tenure. Then Julius Abure, the present chairman of Labour Party, has his own office as well. Okay, now what is actually causing this problem? They said convention. The convention, they were not carried along. Abure want to hijack the convention and do it behind door. Is it an issue? It is something that they can sit down and say, okay, if this date of 27, I think it's supposed to be 27th of this March, is not favoring all the parties that are involved with Labour Party, why don't we do a shifting of the date? What makes it difficult? If you are contesting to be chairman of Labour Party and the people so love you, even if the date is shifted for the next 5 years, they'll still vote for you and you still get the position. But if you are not favored, even if it is done today and you hijack it, you will be protests will come up and you'll be booted out of the office. So I want to even show more of his leadership in this kind of crisis era in Labour Party. That is number one. Number two, Esther, every obedient, many of them will tell you that they are not Labour Party members. They only follow the bill. Do you understand? Even myself, I'm not a Labour Party person, but I saw the antecedent in Obi. But now, Obi must also be able to let this obedient that so believe in him that he can manage crisis wherever he finds himself. For instance, if Obi is the president of Nigeria, as Nigeria is today, Esther. Nigeria is in turmoil. Are you not aware? We are here together. Every day we hear of kidnap, protests for hunger, me paying ransom and all that. That's it. Are we not? It's like Nigeria is in war. Do you think if Obi was the president of Nigeria today, we will not begin to call Obi's name in our respective studio as we are talking about this evening? We will call him. So the onus lies on him as a leader to be able to manage crisis and manage it so effectively for people to be able to see that this is our elected president. So if you want chicken out, forming a political party. Now do you know what it means to galvanize members for a political party? Labour Party has had a spread. The only very little crisis in Labour Party can be managed. Every aggrieved parties can be brought together and settled. If there are external crises, if there are external people who are throwing stone into it, that's where they themselves should look into themselves and not even open their doors for that crack to come in to destabilize them. They should manage it all.
Elvis, let's take calls, okay? Hello, good evening. Welcome to the Political Spotlight. What's your name and location, please?
Good evening, Esther Egwuatu.
Yes.
And a happy Palm Sunday.
Yeah, same to you.
God bless you for a good work. My name is Peter Usifo.
All right, Peter, please, you have a minute. All right, thank you. Please go ahead.
Yeah, on the release of the 137 abducted Kaduna school children,
yes,
is very much commendable.
Yes,
whether they were rescued or ransom was paid, the most important thing is that they have been released.
Yes.
And the government should be commended for that.
Yes.
Then, on Nnamdi Kanu, according to the soundbite you played in the studio there,
yes,
actually one of the lawyers calls for sympathy and empathy.
Yes.
Because it made a lot of revelations on how fundamental human rights of any person, especially under detention, is not respected. So to me, it calls for sympathy.
Okay.
But on the adjust of Nnamdi Kanu himself, to me, in my own opinion, it sounds very abusive and very proud before his enemies. So, in my own opinion, it wasn't okay at all.
You mean when you were saying who dares cause mayhem in the southeast? Oh, okay. All right.
Hello?
Go ahead. Yes.
Statement.
All right.
To me, it was just blabbing and being theatric.
You mean Kenneth Okonkwo was being theatric?
That is all. That is my own comment. Thank you.
All right, Peter Hosifer, thank you for your call. 0700 903 903 903. That's the number to call. 0700 903 903 903. And the WhatsApp number is 081 71756 338. Hello, good evening. Welcome to the Political Spotlight.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Name and location, please.
This is Charles from Festac.
All right, Charles, go ahead. You have a minute.
For the first place, is Peter Obi a member of Labour Party?
Yes, Peter Obi is a member of the Labour Party.
Instead, they just jump into the party to contest an election. There are people who own the party. Just because he contested an election under their platform, does it make him the leader of the party? There are people that will tell him that we formed this party before you came in. So he doesn't have that power. When people say you should do this, it's just like when Atiku, that the crisis was going on in PDP. Some people are calling Atiku to do this. I said, what would Atiku do? Atiku is just a candidate. Presidents have power. Tinubu have power because he's the commander-in-chief. So he has power to call APC members to order because he's the president. But P2B is just a candidate in their party. And he just joined the party 1 month or thereabout before the election.
In other words, people should not expect too much from him. Okay. All right, thank you. 0700 903 903 903. That's the number to call. 0700 903 903 903. The WhatsApp number is 0817 1756 338. Hello.
Good evening.
Yes, good evening. Name and location, please.
I remain Joseph Okito Okuama. And I'm calling you from Bokno.
You're calling from where?
From Bokno area.
Bokno
yes,
area. All right, okay. All right, please go ahead.
I want to start this issue from the Okuama.
Okay.
My sister. One of us in the studio said there are questions that have not been answered. One, we were told that the military went for a rescue mission. Who did they go to rescue? Who was the person that they went to rescue? Who called call them for the rescue.
No, officially they went for a peacekeeping mission. They went to, resolve issues. That's the official report.
I can't hear you. What do you say?
The official report is that the military men went there for a peacekeeping mission. They went there to create peace between the conflicting communities.
Went for peacekeeping. All about a captain. And do you know what? I read the names of those people that went for their names are from a particular region of the country. Who would call a captain, a major, and the rest of the officers for such peacekeeping between my sister and my community and another community has had a boundary issue. Nobody was called. The military were not called in. So who called them? These people went for something we have not been told. And you know where I have the problem? When Tinubu was told what happened, Tinubu did not care to know what these people actually went there to do. He just gave them a go ahead order to go ahead with what they want to do. Which I think was not the best way. If I was the president.
The president asked that they should go there to investigate what caused the killing of those soldiers. That's what he asked them to do. He didn't say go and do what. He said fish out the killers of the soldiers.
The president's statement was more of a war because he was angry. The investigation part came later in his statement. His first statement was not investigation. He took the investigation because it looked as if he was calling for war. And he knew that the issue will repeat. So he added the investigation as the final matter. Now let me look at that. From Nnamdi Kanu.
Okay.
That time is to do is spot on.
Alright.
It's spot on.
Alright. You've taken 2 minutes. I need to take other calls. I sincerely do apologize. The program wasn't be round enough, okay? Thank you so much. 0700 903 903 903. That's the number to call. Please, when you call, you just have a minute. We need to round up quick because we have another program coming up. Hello.
Hello.
Good evening. Name and location, please.
My name is Mr. Amadi calling from Iju.
All right, Mr. Amadi, you have a minute. Go ahead.
There's the issue of labor. These people don't know that the federal government, which is APC, is trying to drag people be out from the whole situation. But a lot of people don't know. I am thanking God the way P2B is handling the whole thing because he is very, very mindful to follow this issue of Bure and the other oppositions and the labor relation. So it is not something that will come out openly to start talking or the way the press wants you to come out so that you answer this one and go answer this one. No, the situation is so tense because the APC people, from my own understanding, they are fueling the whole thing against him. Otherwise, what is never have been existing since. There's no political party that have interest in it. But when people be entered, the Labour Party becomes a known party, and you know that people is a threat to APC and other political parties. So they want him to come out so that they will tag him whatever they want to tag him because he's a human being.
All right, thank you.
Can be complete.
Thank you, Mr. Amadi. Thank you so much. Okay. All right. Sorry, your 1 minute is exhausted. I'm so sorry. All right, we're actually tight for time. Thank you for your contribution. 0700 903 903 903. That's the number to call. Let me take some WhatsApp messages now. I have greetings, Esther. APC doing the act film for us. So I beg make them release part 2 soon. Wondering why no one cried out for their missing child. It was so calm. Like say, be human being born those children. I feel it's a planned work on the abduction of those kids. So people will praise them. Wow. And for Mr. Law. Wow. And okay. Good evening, crew. We can see the zeal and determination of our army to clear that village. Also, we recall the NSAS where innocent youths were massacred in Lekki. The evidence wiped off, alright? And we have IDPs around the country because people were attacked and displaced due to insecurity. Since 2015 till now, we haven't seen such zeal and determination to wipe off bandits and Boko Haram in the north, where people and properties were destroyed. Farmers can't go to farm. Just this government and their ceremonial service chiefs are negligent and complicit, doing eye service propaganda and hypocrisy with human lives. So one thing is that Nigerians has to bear this nightmare in the next 3 years plus. It's a shame. All right, this is from Dio. This is from Dio from Fagba. All right, Dio, that was quite lengthy. Okay, this is from Adeyemi Kamara from Satellite Town in Lagos. Some people calling for release of the proscribed leader of IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu. They cannot condemn him when he is calling Nigeria a zoo, begging for arms to fight Nigeria, abusing everybody, saying Buhari is dead on his brainwashed radio Biafra, even on social media. Why are the people calling for his release? Let the law take its course. Alright, Adeyemi. Okay, Andy Mado from Ikorodu. Good evening. What do you expect from Daniel Bwala, or what is he called? Peter Obi has a great test. Peter Obi would have been his greatest nightmare. Let him know that the Obedient movement are full strong and in support of Obi and not Labour Party. Anywhere he goes, we go Obi all the way. Nnamdi Kanu dividing the country. Please, if I mean to ask, his country did not divide. Please, when you send messages, try to be legible so we can comprehend what you're trying to say. All right. This is from Chiamera from Agbara. The military said they have rescued the children, the kidnapped students, without any arrest of those who kidnapped them. Okay, that's it. That's a question. Whatever happened in Okuama, the government must be held responsible. Why is the military not allowing the media to access the scene of the event? Are they trying to clear all evidences, just as NSAS massacre at Lekki Tollgate, showing that civilians were killed in their numbers while they disallow independent bodies from investigating? The army can't be the accuser and the judge in their case. I believe government only wants one narrative to the story, which is the Nigerian gallant soldiers were killed for peacekeeping sake. I also agree with the assertion of Abraham Obudo, the ex-Guardian editor that was interviewed on Arise Television, that it's all about oil bunkering and the powers that be are only trying to protect their interests no matter the cost. This is Remy from Akoka. Thank you so much, Remy. Let me take this call. Hello. Alright, we've lost our call. 0700 903 903 903. We'll take one more call, and of course we have to listen to a conclusion from our analyst. Hello. 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 Yes, turn off the audio of your listening device. Turn it off completely, please.
This is Nicholas calling for Ajangbadi.
All right, Nicholas. Okay, go ahead. You have a minute.
Yeah, I want to take on Nnamdi Kanu issue.
Okay.
You understand?
Yes.
See, anybody that is condemning Nnamdi Kanu for his own right, the person doesn't know what he's saying, because Nnamdi Kanu is supposed to be taken to prison, to be there and express himself and all that, not by staying inside DSS office. You know that Nigerian law said that if anything that committed offense, within 24 hours they should be taken to prison.
If anything that committed offense.
And the kind of own is different from what Nigeria is saying and all that. What did that guy do? That is asking for Nigeria to give
thank you. Your 1 minute has been exhausted. Thank you so much. All right.
And then
thank you.
Airport, or make Easternant be okay. Is it too much for Nigeria to do for Easternant? What is he doing? Is he carrying gun? Is he carrying any arms for Nigeria? They don't leave the bow. Why they come deleting Nnamdi Kanu?
All right, thank you for calling. Thank you. Mr. John Wakedi, he said something, Nigerian constitution. Please, can you explain that? Where in the constitution does it say that anything after 24 hours should be? I mean, you didn't hear what he said?
No, but then I had it.
You didn't hear what he said?
Yeah.
You were not concentrating.
Who said so? I heard what he said, but when he was even saying, I know it was unconstitutional.
Okay.
Yes, it was.
All right. So please, what's your final take? We're wrapping up now.
For me, like the military people that went to Okuama and the rest of the place, like they rightly stated, it should be investigated.
Okay.
And we should stop overstretching the military.
All right.
The military people are becoming commonized in Nigeria.
Okay.
I know some disputes say, well, when can bring the military? I said, are they the police? Don't the agents, the laws that they asked to establish them, give them specific functions and specific areas of operations. Why do we drag in military to places that police people would have actually handled better? that issue, the incident that took place. Police have actually gone there for that. They will have summoned all the heads, bring them together, have a expanded meeting of the heads of those communities, and eventually find a way around it.
Thank you so much, Mr. Joe. Mr. Elvis, please, a minute.
Yeah, thank you, Esther. I just want to thank God that the children have been brought back.
Okay.
The Kaduna children that were, adopted 17 days ago. But the only area I'm not too comfortable with that we were giving 287 and only 137 came back. But he said one.
Now they came back, not too much.
Died. But the way they were released is another issue. I think we'll discuss that next time.
Thank you. Secret. We need to know.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. This is a wrap up on the political spotlight. Thank you, Barrister Joe Mokedi. Thank you, Mr. Elvis Alimahele. My name is Esther Majiku. Follow me on YouTube at Estic Media on YouTube. All right, and across all social media handles. Do have yourself a wonderful evening.